Roland Mumford with Mumford.law. Today I want to discuss a video about a doctor in St. Louis County, Missouri, that was shot inside of his home. He was killed by two officers with the St. Louis County, Missouri Police Department. This happened on March 21st, 2025. Two officers came to his home wanting to arrest him for a very low-level Class E felony harassment charge. It's very ambiguous in the documents or the reports about what occurred, but apparently he's being alleged to have tampered with a vehicle, something about it being at a park, and it may be connected to a divorce matter. All that is a bit ambiguous. These two officers show up at the front door of his home. This home is in a very nice subdivision. The doctor presents himself in a calm manner. He opens the door, which was the mistake. The two officers clearly know that they can't arrest him by going inside the home because they don't have a warrant. But yet you will see in this body camera video that was put out by the St. Louis County, Missouri Police Department, where they're trying to coerce him through the front door out onto the front step area to arrest him. We're going to discuss the Supreme Court cases about how when you are in your home, you are protected. We'll discuss that case. What are your obligations to open the door when police knock and they don't announce that they have a warrant? We'll discuss the line of demarcation between what is considered inside of your home and outside of the home. And we'll talk about the curtilage, where the Supreme Court has clearly stated that you have protections under the Fourth Amendment, even when you're outside your home on the curtilage. Now, what is deemed to be curtilage is circumstantial, it's fact dependent, but it clearly involves the immediate area outside of a doorway to your home, such as a patio area, the steps leading up to the front door, the sidewalk area leading up to your door, and I would argue even the front part area of your driveway. Again, it's circumstantial. Now, I don't want to lose monetization on this video, but I will put a link in the description where the body camera video at the end shows the officers illegally entering the home because the doctor had attempted to close the door. The officer tried to seize him by grabbing his arm, and then they enter into the home. The doctor, for whatever reason, goes for his gun, allegedly, and then these officers shoot him with 13 bullets. Why was it necessary to shoot him 13 times? So we're going to discuss this. We're going to have an attorney reaction. We're going to go step by step through the video. Again, click on the link in the description if you want to see the remainder of the video put out by the police department where it shows the actual shooting. But I believe if that is in my video, that would violate the terms of YouTube as to violence and so forth, and I don't want to lose the monetization. But I will put that link in there for you to observe. If you want to communicate responsibly and professionally to the St. Louis County Police Department by getting on their Facebook page or emailing them or calling them and letting them know your thoughts, do that, but do so in a responsible manner. Also, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you think that this was a lawful shooting? Let's take a look at the video. All right, this is a video that was put out by the St. Louis County Police Department. This is their attempt to be transparent. They do redact some of the video, but it appears that a good portion of it is here for us to observe.
I'm Sergeant Panis, Public Information Supervisor for the St. Louis County Police Department. This critical incident briefing is intended to provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred in the 1000 block of Hawkins Bay.
Now, this specific video that I'm playing, the link to this will be in the description, and you can watch the shooting where the officers shoot the doctor at the end, putting 13 bullets into him. This is the actual video that I'm going to play, but I'm not going to play the shooting at the end for obvious reasons. As I discussed, I don't want to have my video here be demonetized. But this is the video that you can click on the link to, and then you can go to the end and watch the shooting.
Drive in unincorporated St. Louis County, Missouri. As part of our commitment to transparency, we will show you relevant video footage, evidence, and the law enforcement response.
Now, listen to what she says there. We want to be transparent, but we're going to show you relevant portions of the video. I think that's interesting that what they deem as relevant serving their purposes rather than putting out the entire body camera, which is what they should be doing. Now, I think it's interesting here that they claim transparency, which serves their purposes. They say that they put out the relevant portions of the body cam video. They should have put out the entire body camera video for full transparency.
This incident. Because this investigation is still active, our goal is to provide you with a better understanding of what occurred based on what we know up to this point. This portrayal is not intended to draw any conclusions about whether the officers involved acted consistently with department policies and the law. The St. Louis County Police Department conducts thorough use of force investigations, which typically require detectives to interview multiple witnesses, view numerous hours of video footage, and analyze a significant...
Now, I don't know if this incident is being investigated by the state trooper department of Missouri, whatever that law enforcement department is called. Ordinarily, that is what you would have happen. You would have the statewide law enforcement agency come in and investigate this. And if I'm understanding her, she's saying they're going to investigate themselves, which is completely inappropriate. Now, many times you will have a police department that may have an outside agency, maybe another county law enforcement department investigate if the statewide law enforcement agency doesn't do it. I'm assuming there's a Missouri Bureau of Investigation or some similar sounding law enforcement agency.
The images you are about to see may be disturbing, and you may hear strong or...
Now you hear her say something about how long it may take them to do an investigation. I can tell you in Georgia, they take their sweet time doing investigations. They want to drag it out as long as possible to try to run out the clock, where the person thinks they can't file their Section 1983 lawsuit until there's been a result in the investigation, which is not correct. Again, if you're about to have your statute of limitations on your Section 1983 case run out, file your federal lawsuit, even if you haven't had a disposition in the case, because what the court can do is administratively close it and then reopen it when there's been a favorable outcome or there's been finally a result coming out in the investigation. But always file your lawsuit before the statute of limitations runs out.
Language. When a police officer uses force to arrest a suspect or to defend themselves or innocent victims against an attack, it can be graphic and difficult to watch. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Lohr, Commander of the Division of Criminal Investigation. On Friday, March 21st, 2025, 2 officers from the St. Louis County Police Department, South County Precinct, were involved in an officer-involved shooting that left 1 suspect deceased. At 10:23 a.m., officers advised the Bureau of Communications they were conducting an investigation in the 1000 block of Hawkins Bend Drive. The investigation was related to a reported harassment.
As you can see there, this was in a very nice subdivision. The doctor had a very nice home. This was not in an area of a public area where there may have been more things going on in the interactions between the officer and this doctor. This is just 2 police officers showing up on a quiet day at a doctor's home.
First degree in tampering with a motor vehicle in the 2nd degree incident in the South County Precinct. Once on scene, officers contacted the suspect, now identified as Alexander Lannis, age 38, at the door of his residence. Officers advised Mr. Lannis that he was under arrest and requested numerous times that he step out of the home. However, Mr. Lannis did not comply. When officers attempted to take him into...
Now, what you don't hear from this gentleman is that the doctor had no legal obligation to comply with those orders of the police officers. Here, he wants to try to posture this as the doctor did not comply with the orders of the officer. He doesn't say anything about the officer not having a warrant and that the doctor was in his home and that he was protected under the 4th Amendment, that he did not have to surrender to these officers or, quote, comply when there was no warrant. He just conveniently leaves that out.
Mr. Lannis physically resisted his arrest and displayed a handgun. A struggle began inside the home, and officers wrestled him to the ground. While fighting for control of Mr. Lannis's handgun, officers continued giving commands to him to drop the weapon. In an attempt to de-escalate the encounter and subdue Mr. Lannis, 1 officer did deploy a taser, but Mr. Lannis continued to struggle, and eventually both officers fired their service weapons, striking Mr. Lannis. You are about to hear relevant police radio traffic of the officer's response to this incident.
Car 1406.
Hawkins Bend Drive, Missouri.
Car 1406 on investigation at Hawkins Bend at 10:23. One Hawkins Bend, the 7th is en route and Baldwin's en route.
Hey, can you check on 93 and send some cars?
1490.
Send all the even cars.
That's clear.
3 Charles 10, have 11 and 12 respond, please.
3 Charles 10, 11 and 12, are you clear?
Oh, no.
1018, are you clear? 1406. 1406. We got a male with multiple gunshot wounds. We're gonna need an ambulance. Stat. That's fair. Male with multiple gunshot wounds. Ambulance is en route.
Are all officers
1406. 1406. This is 10-4. Officer secure.
7th precinct, car 1406 is requesting assistance from Hawkins Ben. Hawkins Ben said he had one resisting. Shots have been fired. I don't know if it's at the officers or not. I can have cars en route.
Listen how many times that through this dispatch recording you keep hearing resisting. These officers, hey, he was resisting. You hear the dispatchers repeating it. I think they're doing that beyond what is necessary to create and posture the defense, the legal defense that they have coming.
Traffic.
1790.
Start all cars. Hawkins Ben. 4th precinct. Officer need evade.
That's clear. I just gave it out. I got them all. One subject is down. All 7th precinct en route.
Now you will see the responding officer's body-worn camera video.
Body-worn cameras used by the St. Louis County Police Department have a 30-second buffer of video without audio. Upon activation, the camera goes back 30 seconds and begins recording. This feature is designed to capture incidents that occur suddenly, where an officer does not immediately activate the camera.
Now, this was something that I did not know about. This was the first time I've heard this. So if you get body camera video of any incident, you want to make sure that you get the 30 seconds or maybe 60 seconds before whatever may be captured before the start time on the time date stamp in the video. See if you get this 30 to 60 seconds that they're referring to, because it's very important to get the context of what occurred before they trigger the recording.
The cameras are worn at chest levels by officers assigned to the Division of Patrol and most officers assigned to Special Task Force details. They capture a general perspective from that angle. Available lighting, movement, distance, and other factors can affect clarity and picture quality. The following body-worn camera videos are of relevant footage directly related to the incident I just described. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
So it's very important we analyze what's going on here. You have two officers that are walking up to a door. There's clearly no exigent circumstances, no kind of emergency. There's no kind of negative interaction between this doctor and these two officers. They're walking up to the door. They're about to perform what we call a knock and talk. That is where officers will attempt to knock on your door and have a consensual conversation with you.
Hello?
Hey, Dr. Lannis.
Hi, come on your
Hi.
phone. How are you guys?
Hey, good. Do you mind stepping out for us for just a minute? I'll explain to you everything that's going on.
Now, as you see here, the doctor, he made the first serious mistake was opening that door. You don't see these two officers say that they have an arrest warrant or even a search warrant. Now, if this was involving some incident about harassment and something about a vehicle somewhere at a park, then obviously that would not implicate a search warrant of his home. So here we don't have an arrest warrant. They don't communicate it. And the officers are trying to get him to step out of his home onto the front stoop there to arrest him. But still, the Fourth Amendment still protects him on that curtilage. You see the doctor is acting calm. He's not acting in an aggressive manner. He's not acting boorish in any way.
And I'll be honest with you. I know you got a lot going on in
Yeah.
your personal life and everything like that.
Yeah.
And we talked on the phone, guess what, maybe a couple weeks
yeah.
ago or something
Yeah.
like that. It was actually you and Officer here.
Hi.
So maybe you do, maybe you don't. At the end of the day, we've got some stuff we got to take care of.
Okay.
I want to give you a courtesy as long as you give us a courtesy, okay? At this point, though, we do have enough. If you mind stepping out for us really quick, okay?
Okay, just a second.
No,
Yeah.
well, we need you to
Just-
step out
just
now.
a second, sir. Yeah, just a second.
Go ahead and step on out for us.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Can I take a minute?
Well, we need you to step out now. Here, step on out to the front porch, okay? Because you are.
These are unlawful commands. These are not requests by the officers for him to step out.
This time are being placed under arrest. I'll walk
Holy
you through
shit.
everything, okay?
Yeah.
And everything like that. I don't want to cause a scene here at your residence, okay? Everyone's got cameras.
Yeah.
And people, we don't want that, okay? So
Wow.
just step out for us. We'll walk you to the car.
Okay, wow, give me just a second. Holy shit. Wow.
Well,
We'll explain the process to you and everything.
You see the doctor here, confused by the circumstances. He seems to be maybe more of a type of person that analyzes things. He seems to be more introverted. He's trying to process what is going on, not acting in any manner such as hot pursuit, which I think is what's going to be the defense by these officers, is they're going to claim that when he tries to retreat back into his home and close the door, you're going to see the officer grab his arm And that is where we start having the unlawful violations occur, even though I think asking him to step out of the home was an unlawful constitutional violation.
We're going to take you to the station. We're not going to take you down to the jail. But, well, we got to,
Now listen right there where that officer, the second officer there, lies to him and says, just step on out. We're not going to take you down to the jail and we'll explain the process. And then he catches himself and he says, well, we'll see. He's lying to the doctor here, saying that we're not going to take you to the police station.
We have to do this. There's no really.
We know you got a lock down on you. Okay. But
it's best we just get it out of the way now, though, and then you can handle what you need to handle. But our hands are pretty tied. We have to.
But let's get this over with, so it's not looming anymore. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Just give me just a second.
Okay.
So one of the interesting things that we'd want to evaluate here is this doctor being coerced by these two officers to step out? Is he under duress committed by these officers to step out? Because those are two important legal distinctions. If he had stepped out, would it have been deemed consensual on his part? But I don't think so under some of the Supreme Court case law, where if you can show coercion or duress, you may show that you did not step out consensually.
Is this about the other day?
We'll be happy to talk to you, but we gotta do some stuff. So go ahead and step on out for us, okay?
Okay, just a second.
Right there is where the major constitutional violation occurs. Well, let's rewind this a little bit. You're about to see the officer step back in. Excuse me.
Okay.
You're about to see the doctor step back in and then watch the officer reach for his arm.
Okay, just a second.
Right there. That was an absolute violation of this doctor's Fourth Amendment rights. Doctor was still within the threshold of his home. Do you ever see him step out through the door frame? And that's an important question. Now, the important case that is implicated here is Payton versus New York. It's a 1980 Supreme Court case. They must have a warrant to arrest you in your home unless there's exigent circumstances. And what are those exigent circumstances again? It has to be hot pursuit, maybe by a felon, or that the officers have reasonable cause to believe that evidence may be destroyed, but we don't have any of that here. The U.S. Supreme Court case of Florida versus Jardines, it's a 2013 case, said that the curtilage around your home still provides protection for you under the Fourth Amendment, and no different than if you were inside your home. Now, obviously, when you're inside your home, there is no stronger protection under the Fourth Amendment. Your home is your castle. But the Jardines case stated, when you step out onto the curtilage, you still have Fourth Amendment protection. I don't believe that the officer still would have had the ability to arrest this doctor if he had stepped out onto that front porch area without a warrant. The cops just can't enter a home without exigent circumstances. So do you think he had stepped through that door frame? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, there was a case, United States versus Santana in 1976, and that was the case that established that line of demarcation between what is considered inside the home and outside the home, and they basically, in essence, said it's the door frame. But I don't ever see him stepping out of that door frame. I don't believe the doctor ever leaned out past the door frame, but I don't think that would be sufficient cause for these officers to arrest him, particularly under the Jardines case. If the officer's saying that you are under arrest, that means absolutely nothing. That does not implicate some law allowing them to seize you. You're only required to obey an order by a police officer that is lawful. So what I think the police officers are going to do in this situation is I think they're going to try to claim hot pursuit. That when the doctor leaned back in towards the inside of his residence and that it was clear that he was going to close the door, that I think these officers are going to claim hot pursuit as an exigent circumstance and then to enter and arrest him. But I believe that contact, when that officer had put his hands onto his arm, that constituted an unlawful seizure. And some would argue that is where the analysis for an unconstitutional violation here begins. I think it began when they were trying to force him out of the home through coercion without an arrest warrant.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Drop the gun!
Now, that's about where I'm probably going to stop this video. It appears that the body camera on one of the officers starts to shake loose, so it's a little bit difficult to see what happens. We don't know why this doctor reached for the gun. We don't know if this was a proper use of force. Why did they put 13 bullets into this doctor? And I have this weird, uncanny suspicion that this may have been suicide by cop. I don't have any evidence to support that. It's just a hunch on my part. I'm not alleging it formally. Why did he go for the gun? And obviously, if these police officers are appearing at the residence under the color of law, even if they illegally enter your home, that's not cause for you to be able to go for your gun and to shoot a police officer. You just cannot do that. You cannot shoot a police officer under these circumstances, and I would never say that in the video, obviously. A court's going to analyze this situation under Graham v. Connor. Those are the factors that the court looks at for whether this was a lawful use of force or whether it was excessive force. So again, the key takeaways from this case is don't ever open your door to the police if they don't have an arrest warrant. Don't reach for a gun if the police enter your home. Always demand to see the arrest warrant. Always record the police. Go to the description, click on the link, and then you can see the remainder of the video where the shooting occurs. Thank you for your time. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments. Have a great day.